So I think obviously my work was there, but I think the team at De facto Law Cell helped me a lot in this regard.
Okay, so Manish, congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So Manish, this is something I do every year, right? That you know.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me tell first the people that he's the first candidate this time that who have actually qualified without having studied law in their graduation. He is actually an engineering graduate. So well, will be a very special perspective. Sometimes candidates do come who are of non-law background, right? If I remember
Yes, sir.
2 years back, there was one girl, Nidhi. She was also one of the students, right? She cracked it without having a formal law background. So we'll
Mhm.
talk in that perspective. Okay, Manish. So first, tell me about yourself.
Sir, I was born and brought up in Delhi. Did my entire schooling in Delhi itself, and I have a BTech in electrical engineering, as you pointed out, and I have experience of close to 3 years working in private sector, and then I left my job, started preparing for civil services. So I have appeared in the civil services interview 5 times actually in the past, including this one. So in the 2022 attempt, I missed the cutoff just by very few marks. So I couldn't get into the list, but however, I was able to crack Sports Authority of India Administrative Services. So I'm currently working there as an assistant director in Lucknow. And this year I was fortunate enough to get into the list with a rank of 744. So things are becoming better now.
That's very good. Okay, so you have given interview 5 times, right? So obviously I know you, right? At least for 2, 3 times I have been with you.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
tell me, you have cracked prelims. It means 5 times, right? Now, I often say that the problem is prelims, not the mains, sometime, right? So, how do you? I mean, is there any special thing that you did for prelims that you cracked it almost every time?
Sir, I think the most important thing about prelims is revision, sir, because there are a lot of facts to be crammed up. And I think revision plays a role, very big role. And one of the best way to revise is to attempt as many MCQs and test series as much as possible. Because we are always reading the books, newspaper, and notes. That happens on daily basis. But remembering all that data is not very easy. But when you do it through test series, and where you do mistakes, then you check your copies, answer copies. So that process help imbibe better, facts in the memory. So my, among other things, one of the most important part my strategy used to be that, take as many tests as possible and then revise them again and again. I used to revise every test like 3 to 4 times at least, and that used to help me a lot to get the questions correct in the prelims, sir.
Okay, so every prelims,
Yeah.
you cracked it by a very good
Yeah.
margin.
Yes, sir. Because sir, everybody is reading those same books,
Same book.
same notes, right? There's not big difference in those notes and books. So I think the differentiation that is created is in like how you remember the facts. The entire process of remembering the facts and taking up the test again and again, improving your time, that in how much time, how many MCQs are able to do, whether you're feeling comfortable during the exam while you're taking the actual exam or not. So I worked a lot on that aspect because everybody was almost equal on the first part. So I think the second part was the most important factor, sir.
Okay. So I will be referring you some of the candidates, right, to the prelims. Do help them out. Okay.
Yes, sir, sure, sir.
Now let us come to the law part. Right now, first tell me that why did you choose law? Right, you are engineering background, right, from a good college.
Yeah.
Now, why did you choose law? And you have throughout that entire 5 year, you have chosen law only. I suppose, right?
Yes, sir. So yes, I kept law
Why
as my
that
optional
choice?
subject throughout all the attempts, sir. Sir, like any other candidate, I checked a lot of optional subjects, including PSIR, sociology. So somehow I like the syllabus of law really. I mean, it's very difficult to describe, matlab, because first of all, the constitutional law, right? We anyway study polity, but when we study constitutional law, we go even further in the depth. And then there are other aspects of international law, then IPC taught. So what we found that the syllabus of optional law is such that it helps you understand the current affairs even better.
Hmm.
And then it helps you in GS2 subject as well. And the syllabus was somehow very interesting for me because a legal perspective in everyday life in or in your office work, everything, it gives you a different perspective as compared to a common man. as compared to a layman person. So I wanted that perspective in my life that okay, should be able to see it, bit technical manner, different manner. So that's why I found the optional subject of law very interesting from many perspectives, not just once. So then I decided, okay, let's go with the law optional subjects. Obviously, in the beginning, it was very difficult because it was totally new for me. But then, sir, obviously, I worked hard, and the de facto institute also helped me a lot in this regard, sir, especially you, sir. So I think, obviously, my work was there, but I think the team at de facto law sir helped me a lot in this regard, and that helped me bridge the gap because obviously the candidates who have LLB, they have some advantage over me, but I think that gap was bridged with hard work and the guidance provided at the de facto law sir.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so it means that you thought that it is much more related to polity, and so you found it very interesting to read polity. So you thought that it is
Yes
natural
sir,
to switch
yes
over
sir,
to the law. Okay, now
yes sir.
because as you know that more than 90% of the candidate who come for law optional are a law graduate, right? Very rarely, hardly 5-10% people are from non-law background, right? So you already
Yes
said.
sir.
Okay. Now tell me, because your feedback could matter more, right? Because you are not a law graduate in that sense. What kind of book that you referred in the constitutional law?
Sir, there were three primary sources in my preparation. The first was my institute notes, and second was the reference standard books was the these those book keys that we use while pursuing LB. A lot of people study that, sir. And I've also referred to R.K. Bangia, sir. That's one book, sir. Yes, I've referred to that as well. And then depending upon the current developments, I used to read different newspapers as well. For example, Live Law, Bar and Bench. So these three were the primary sources during my preparation, sir. Then obviously, sir, the solutions provided by the institute, the Q&A, the test series,
Yes.
that also acted as the fourth source. I was able to enrich my case laws, the list of case laws in a very profound manner by using the test series, sir.
Okay, so the case law was helped by that, and otherwise you refer to the standard sources, Dukis and live law to have the current affairs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. An institute note, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, so now tell me about CLD portion specifically, right? So apart from my notes, have you gone through any other source for CLD? Because people often struggle, especially with regard to some of the topics in CLD, which is an entire subject in itself, right? Like
Yes, sir.
environmental laws of India. So there
Yes,
are more
sir.
than 20 environmental law, right? So how did you tackle those?
Sir, again, sir, the institute notes, sir, the sources remain the same, sir. I think CLD actually was one of the toughest part. As you said, it's very open-ended, and it's very difficult to be sure that okay, I have now done these many questions, so I should be able to hit at least 5 or 10 out of that. That typically does not happen in CLD, sir. So, so to enrich my sources, sir, I refer to current affair and live law, bar and bench, different websites which are available online, sir. So, but the key was I prepared a standard notes and I used to keep updating them depending upon what is more relevant this year in the current affairs, sir. So the strategy was more or less the same, but yes, sir. I understand why are you pointing it out because it's actually very difficult for everybody to get hang of what CLD is entirely. Yes, sir. So strategy was more or less same, but I used to keep updating my notes, sir. So I think that helped me a lot, sir.
Now, let us move to the interview questions, right? So, what kind of, and obviously, we have talked a lot about it, but still for
Yes, sir.
the audience, right? Because last year, I remember your interview went very bad, right? It was number one interview on the list, right? Manish Kumar,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
first one, right? So, they even asked you, do you believe in the beginner's luck, right?
Yes, sir.
And
In
still,
the
they did
beginner's
not
luck,
give you
yes,
good
sir.
marks. Right?
Yes, sir. That was the
This
irony
year,
of the entire interview, sir.
yes, but this year, it was really very nice. So, what are the main questions that you got asked?
Sir, the questions were from a lot of domains, sir. It was very comprehensive interview. There were questions from my detailed application form DAV. So I was in NCC in my school as well as college. So there were questions from that domain. Like one of the questions was, should we make NCC compulsory for all students in all the schools? That was one of the questions. Then the other panelist asked question on environmental law, MC Mehta versus Union of India case law, sir, and then doctrine of public trust, sir. Then there was some questions related to the three new laws, like the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that we have now. There were questions regarding that as well, sir. And then, sir, other questions were on the DAF, sir. They picked different parts from my detailed application form, frame questions around them, sir. So the interview was overall very comprehensive, including questions from current affairs, my optional subject, as well as DAF, sir.
So your interview more or less revolved around law, right? I suppose they must have given you good marks for that.
Yes, sir. There were two panelists who asked questions specifically from law only, sir. Include three people, including chairperson, asked question from other domains, current affairs and DAF, but two people asked question only from the domain of law, sir.
Okay. And what about in current affair? What do they? I mean, the relevant current affair at that time. What was the thing that was in news that they asked?
Sir, I don't remember all the questions as of now, sir, but they were questions related to international law, sir. Some of the key things that were happening around
All
the
Trump,
world, sir.
yes, taking away the Venezuelan president. I suppose that is the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then on the trade war as well, sir. There were questions around these topics as well. Though I don't remember the specific question as of now,
Hmm.
but the questions were framed around these topics, sir.
Down these topics. Oh, sure, okay. Okay. So, the last thing that I would like you to sort of give Gyan, right? That suppose a person, who is a non-law graduate, he wants to pick up law, right? He have decided already to pick up law, right? And I always,
Yes, sir.
you also have told that you have to find your interest. That where do your interest lie, actually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people find it okay, geography is something is
Mm-hmm.
he's interested in it. So if someone has picked up law, so what do you suggest to him to
Mm-hmm.
study? Where to start? I mean, how to take the entire approach? Especially
Mm-hmm.
people want to know that note making, what are the
Mm-hmm.
books has to be referred, right? How many hours a day you have to actually study? Obviously, these are personal
Yes,
questions
sir.
suitable for a particular candidate, right? It is very different for all the candidates, but still a general guideline if you.
Mhm. So the strategy is actually very wide, but I will talk about few most important things. I think if the candidate is coming from a non-law background, sir, so I think it would be good to join an institute, a good institute like de facto, sir, because law is a conceptual technical subject, and if somebody is teaching you in a time-bound manner, it helps you finish your subject, the option in a time-bound manner quickly, and at the same time you are able to understand the intricacies of the subject. You get good hold of the subject. This is the first part, sir. Second would be, sir, to make short notes, sir, because law is a very wide subject. So analyze the syllabus, analyze the past PYQs, previous year questions, and that will give an understanding as to how wide a subject is. For example, if we talk about the concept of culpable homicide and murder in IPC, even that topic is very wide, depending on the number of case laws. But we don't need to go in each and every detail of it. The questions are framed around few specific areas. So these two things, these labels and the PYQs help you understand that, okay, this is the depth to which I need to go. And then based upon that, frame or design or create your own short notes, and then revise them again and again from the same source so that you can cram up the things in the right manner, because in the exam you don't get a lot of time to recall things or things upon the each and every topic, because the time is very less, right? You have to write a 3 or 4 page answer in 10 or 12 minutes.
Complete.
So the topics needs to become very natural to you कि भाई ये सवाल आया, now I can just recall everything very quickly, and that comes up when you're doing a massive amount of revision from the same notes. This is the second thing, sir. The third thing would be, sir, again, test series. I pointed it out in the prelims preparation as well. And in the main, sir, it is again in an optional subject like law, joining a good test series is very important, sir. And then getting good reviews. For example, sir, you used to check paper online live and give feedback at the same time. And I think that played a very important role, because we get our GS paper checked from many institutes, but they don't check it online, right? And they become any other check copy in the market. But when the teacher itself in front of you telling you, okay, this is where you went wrong, so that part is very able to remember. वो हमें बार बार हमेशा याद आ जाता है क्योंकि सर ने ये बताया था, ये गलत करा था, नाउ जस्ट चेंज इट, एंड वो सब्सिक्वेंट मैनर में दोबारा वो गलती कभी होती ही नहीं है. So I think if the candidate is coming from a non-law background, get a good institute, then create your own short notes, your own handwritten short notes, and again also keep updating them depending upon the current affairs, like the international law or the constitutional law. Then the third part would be, sir, a good test series, sir. I think a triplet of these three things would help frame a good strategy, sir.
So did you make notes handwritten one or on the computer itself?
No, no, sir. I made my own handwritten notes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, I used
Now,
to keep updating them, sir.
now a lot of people, right, while checking answer, I could see that they are using the
Uh,
help of AI. So how did you take the help of AI? Very, very, because that is some very
sir,
interesting development. Yes.
I started using AI since last year, sir, and most of my notes were already prepared. So I used to take help of AI, for case laws or recent current affairs. So let's suppose during the exam, if I don't have a lot of time, I will ask some, Gemini or some other app to summarize a particular topic which is happening in the current affairs, and also get good case laws on itself. So I primarily use it to make my to generate content from it, and then I used to incorporate them in my own notes, sir. So this is how I used AI, sir. But beyond that, sir, it was all manual work, the old school method, sir. Yes, sir.
So it means the code is the old school method, and the top up is through AI, I suppose.
Yes, sir. I think in civil, sir, the old school method is the best method, sir. Because ultimately you have to go and write answers in the paper. And again, that's the old school method. You're not typing anything. And if you have to cram up all that data, that happens only when you're writing things on daily basis. Then it becomes, very natural to you. ये सवाल आया याद आ गया लिख दिया आपने अब टाइप करके that flow does not come, sir. And when you're writing things now, that also improves your handwriting and writing speed, which is very important for the mains exam. Typing things in the OneNote or any other software doesn't help you in that regard. So when you're writing on daily basis, sir, वो वाला part भी accordingly prepare हो जाता है, sir.
That is true. That is true. Actually, that is really true. Okay, so that will be discussion, end of the discussion, and when you are in Delhi, I will organize after a week or two session, right?
Sure, sir.
Come and take a student through the journey, right? Sort of tell them how to prepare, because often the students are very much interested, especially for you, right, as a non-law graduate,
Mm.
to tell them that how to prepare in physically. If you come and tell, that will be wonderful.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, I'll be there.
And also, for the people watching this, he have been recently married, and I've attended his marriage
Uh,
ceremony also. So, congratulations to him again, right? So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
1 month of the marriage, he got selected, right? So that is some sort of
Yes, sir.
uh,
Good news are coming, sir.
hope, yeah, they're coming, right? So marriage has transformed his destiny in that sense, right? So that is
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so thank you, Manish. Let us meet when you're in Delhi. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.